We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other mints. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices, I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for rubbing mints. Hush now, city kids. But you know, the wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome along to the Fans Forum. It is NUFC Matters and welcome to On the Road, as we're pre-recording, to Pablo and to Darren, to George, to Ian, welcome back, and to Magnus, and welcome to everybody in the chat as well. So we'll go to the lads who are on their way back from Brighton. Newcastle getting a point, hard-earned point. 3 penalty shouts in the game, 2 waved away, quite rightly so, after watching the TV replays, and of course 1 given correctly and dispatched quite nicely by Alexander Isak. But a game which I think probably was best described as nervous for most people, whether you were at the game or whether you were watching on television, especially when we went 1-0 down to Yankuba Minte's strike. Very good goal, and rather a weird celebration from a player who is an ex-player but didn't really play for Newcastle United. Bit bizarre, not sure what that was all about, but a point earned, which kept us in the Champions League positions. And as we pre-record this, there's about 10 minutes left in the Chelsea-Liverpool game. Chelsea 2-0 up and looking to get a third, which of course would take them above us. But Newcastle can hold, if Liverpool can hold on and keep it at 2-0, or perhaps even get a goal back, Newcastle will remain in 4th place, in the Champions League race, and of course the big game against Chelsea next weekend. So let's speak to the lads first. Let's speak to Pablo. He's the man in the passenger seat. Come to you first, mate. You were there, a long old trip for you lads. Darren, obviously travelling down from Tyneside. You a little bit closer, mate, but not much. You're on your way to pick your car up in London now. What was your take of the game, mate?
To be fair, mate, that song's been kept us going for the past hour and a half, trying to get back to our car waiting for buses, which is ironic for me, as you know. But as regards the day, mate, it panned out exactly how I thought it would pan out last week. I said 1-1. We both said a 1-1, not that we're gloating, but it literally played out as I imagined it. Very, very kind of touchy, very nervy. I think first half, the balance of play, if the first half was anything to go by, I don't think we deserved anything out of the game. We were sporadic. We picked it up in midfield. We broke quick a fair few times. But for me, the quality wasn't there down the channels. It was too telegraphed.
Murphy was rubbish today. I've already got me on now about Murphy. He's done nothing. When you want him to do something, he does nothing on the day. And Dan Burn, if he doesn't turn his side, he blocks the ball with his chest. I don't know. It was bad performance. First off, he probably said first off, we're absolutely rubbish. But a draw of their results. So it's so frustrating. We didn't turn up the day.
I think the difference is when you're at the game like we were, when you see those 3 penalty shouts, you're automatically thinking they are all penalties. But when you look at them after, we've managed to kind of catch a bit on TV and whatnot, and in real terms, probably one of them was a penalty, which was the one that was given. That being said, you know what? 1-1 away at Brighton, where we notoriously fail and we notoriously kind of struggle to get momentum. I'm not coming away going back up to London disappointed. You know, I'm kind of more on the positive side that we now go on. We've got 3 more games to secure Champions League. So really, it's just almost a bye week. So, but that, like you said, the Chelsea game is disappointing because the one day of the year that I'd probably support Liverpool will be today. But they're going to let us down, aren't they? But do you know what, mate? A really good day, and I'll say again, like I did with the Leicester game, the Brighton fans were lovely. A good bit of banter between everyone. Brighton seems to love the place. There's lots going on.
What about Toby and Adam, the drivers?
Darren knows all the bus drivers on first name terms. But yeah, no, just a great day out, mate. No else does.
That's it. You kind of don't think, mate. You hit the nail on the head. Well, I said 1-1. Say that so. Kind of predicted what was said. A lucky draw, which I did say that last week. But didn't turn up. Dan Burn should have been booked in the first half. It was a bad tackle. But it's a poor performance. Like say, like we could be the away with a defeat, but with them we've got a draw. So I'm happy with the draw. To be fair.
The Minter thing confused me a little bit.
Yeah, it confused me.
I kind of get what he's doing by kind of playing it down like I'm not going to celebrate, but then we haven't really seen it up close, so I think he's kind of changed tune halfway through. Is that right?
Yeah, well, what he was doing was he scored the goal. It was a great goal. Well done to him. You know, I hate to say it was a deflection. It deflected off Dan Burn. He was unlucky, but it was, you know, the shot exactly was really, really good. But he turned away, and then it was almost as he was having a bit of beef with somebody in the crowd. He started pointing to the ground as if to say, I'm happy here. Then he started kissing his badge. Then he started gesturing, and then one of his players had to pull him away. So I don't know whether he was getting a bit of stick off the crowd, but it was uncalled for. And obviously a couple of minutes before he scored the goal, he got wiped out as well. So maybe the players were given a little bit of stick, giving him it as well. And of course, Mitch had mentioned it on the professionals on Sunday morning about there was a bit of bad feeling between both teams after the FACup defeat. Of course, Danny Welbeck had gone down the tunnel, videoed himself down in the tunnel, or the club had videoed him, and he'd gone, bloke giving a stick out there. He doesn't realise I'm a Mackham. Liverpool have just scored 2-1, Virgil van Dijk, which, of course, this is live. This isn't a live podcast on Monday night. This is a pre-record, but that helps us massively with a goal difference. So it means we're a goal ahead of Chelsea, but level on points. But yeah, that was what happened, Pablo. A strange affair, but yeah, you picked up on it, so you'll see it on the TV replays when you get in.
Yeah, I think the Minter thing. I mean,
but one booed him.
I was going to say it wasn't particularly getting a great deal of stick from what I heard. Now, like you say, whether there's been a bit of needle from Summit before or with the players, but I don't think he was particularly getting a bad reception off the Geordies.
You might get your numpty by boom for no reason, because he used to he didn't even play for Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know why numpty booing for nothing.
I tell you what, mate, though, I'll give him his dues. He does look a bit of a live wire. I mean, obviously we were forced, you know, to sell him and to move him on, but it's just a shame we couldn't have kept that lad, because he's probably one that's going to be for the future, and he does look fairly shifty on the ball.
Yeah, certainly does. Just out of interest, because it's always different when we watch it on TV, you watch it live at the game. Man of the match from both of you?
Oh, bloody hell, the hard one. I don't think anyone played well enough.
I'd say probably for me, looking at it, because we were down that corner, I think Trippier had a good, solid game. I wouldn't say anyone stood out in particular.
The worst game I've seen Sandro and Bruno play the day, mate.
Sandro and Bruno were very quiet. That was
Sandro's worst game, definitely.
Yeah, you know what? I'd say Trippier, because I didn't really see him put a foot wrong.
Who do you think, like?
Who do you think? We'll have an opinions.
Who?
Shoulder on me, Obi.
You got stage fright. The passengers have got stage fright. It must be because George is here. They're in the presence of a legend.
Yeah, no, come on, demand an answer. You gotta demand it.
They're probably holding their breath because of Darren's beer farts.
Yeah, there is that to it.
Anyway,
a great day out.
Yeah, that's good. I'll give you some stats as well. This is, again, stats. People don't like to hear stats, but possession in the game, 54% to Newcastle, 46% to Brighton. Total shots in the game, 13 for Newcastle, 5 for Brighton. On target, 5 for Newcastle, 2 for Brighton.
Because that's what he said to Steve, though, because his first half, Linda was not first half.
Second half.
Second half, it was more play. First half was shocking first half.
Stats are obviously, they're there to be looked at, and we can all have a laugh at things like XG. But yeah, it's interesting, and I mean, it wasn't as bad I think if you rewatch the game, it probably wasn't as bad as you think it was. It was definitely more nervous for me. Obviously not traveling today and watching it on the TV. I hate watching games on the TV. I prefer to be there. But to actually sit and watch that was a nervous game, especially being 1-0 down and knowing how important it was to get something out of that game and not get beat, So, yeah. All right. Listen, we've heard your opinion. Let's go to George. George was the same as me. George was at home watching. George, what did you make of that game today?
Well, lots of what the lads say I agree with largely, but what I don't agree with them is that, the first 20 minutes, Murphy had 4 crosses which had the commentators drooling and saying how dangerous they were and how wasteful we were. So it's horses for courses. The other thing is that I'm glad you read the stats, because apart from Minty's goal, they would never have scored another one. There was never any danger we're going to be overrun or anything like that. And there's the old adage: it's when you're not playing well and you get a point or you get a win, that's a sign of a good side. And that's what happened today. We didn't play at our best, but we certainly deserved the point. In fact, on the basis of the shots and what have you, we could have took 3 points today. But it wasn't. You can't grumble that hard about it being a draw, because we weren't at our best. And in terms of players, I think the lads are close enough for me. Trippier or Barnes. I thought Harvey Barnes did a lot of hard work today, unseen sometimes, and a couple of times in the first half. Another half a yard, and he would have been in close range for shooting. So Trippier and Harvey Barnes were the 2 for me. Disappointed with the people who are usually, praised, like Tunali was just off it today, just a yard off the ball, and Bruno, just went missing sometimes, which they have 2 of them go missing at the same time. It was a bit of a disaster. The other thing is that I'm still puzzled about Alexander Isak. He drifted through that game, and yet when you want a man to step up at the end of the match and score a pressure penalty, he's there and he does the business. So in that way, he's on there and doing a job, but he does what we need from him, and that's what matters. But in terms of play during the game, he was non-existent for long periods of time. And the best thing about it is, as usual, is the away fans. I thought you lads and all the fans at the away end were absolutely fantastic, because you couldn't hear a Brighton.
George.
Yes.
That's the worst I've heard you cut upon the day. I thought we were quiet, mind you.
Well, you were still 10 times louder than they were. And
I've seen that's the quiet we've been.
Right.
We were not loud today. We were not that loud today, George, honestly.
Well,
because I didn't sing that much today.
You're hearing it real time. I'm hearing it on the microphone, so it might sound different to me.
But I can honestly say today, George, I didn't sing all match, mate.
But you were still still much louder than Brighton were. I mean, they didn't even get their club song out, did they? I never heard that at all. So considering it was not my best performance of the season or totally during the day, to get the point was what we needed at least, and they did a job, and that's fine. I'm interested in your commentaries about the penalties as well. I've got to say, it's maybe controversial, I think Joe Willock was hard done by. Anybody that's played the game at any level knows that they were looking at the wrong place for that. They were looking at trips and all sorts of things. The defender used his bloody hip to tip him over. That, you know, they never think of doing things like that when they're in the VAR box at Stockley Park, because most of them never kicked the ball in their life. But by end of the day, it's a point at a time we needed it. They did the job, and they all tried put a shift in. And a year ago, even, we might have lost that match. I forget what they said. Is that the 9th or the 10th time or more that we've come back from a losing position to get into a match again, and that resilience will stand with in good stead. So that was good. One more bellyache. I've heard Wayne Rooney and a couple of others talking about the game today, and I understand now why Wayne Rooney can't get a job as a manager, because his commentary about our performance was absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. But then it's Newcastlers that we've got to get used to that. So good draw, and well done, you lads, for supporting the club.
I was sick of Lee Hendry today, and again that's the problem. If you don't go to games, you're left with the commentaries sometimes on the TV.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
Lee Hendry was wishing every penalty decision was a game. You know, he was hoping it wasn't going to be a penalty. I mean, look, I'll give credit to the officials today. The referee called it, but the VAR officials got everything right today, and that's not very often that happens. You know, they took a long time on the decisions, but it was the right thing to do. And on each of those 3 penalty shouts, they got the decisions right. So at least VAR was working today, and it was in the right way. Some daft bookings again today, but overall, I know everyone maybe disagrees, but I don't think he was the worst referee we've had in recent weeks. But refereeing standards are still absolutely atrocious. There's no doubt about it.
He's supposed to be one of our best, Steve.
Yeah, well, they're all. You know, they all need to go back to school, I think, in the summer, learn the rules, and the rules need to be looked at as well. But
he was much less shit. That's what he was.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, no, but also like at 9 minutes in extra time, you know, how many of them were VAR minutes?
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, I mean,
least.
there's a lot of substitutions, of course. It's, you know, the rule book's 30 seconds a sub. You know, we've got more substitutes in the game now. Obviously, VAR decisions as well do count as well. But it's we'll see what happens. Jeff, good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, I was late. I fell asleep.
Don't worry, mate. Newcastle 1-1 at Brighton. How do you feel about the result? What was your view on the game?
Well, it was a very interesting game, I must admit. Tactically, I was. They were better in the second half. Newcastle played as well as I thought they could do a lot of the time. There was fine margins again, really fine margins. A lot of shots being nearly missed. Some of the crosses going in weren't that accurate, but it was a lot of pinball in their box.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it quite a lot, and as you say, it was Madley. He was running the game somehow. The result was determined by VAR, and as you say, we ended up with 9 minutes. That's a lot of time. Can somebody enlighten me? How many subs are we allowed this season?
5.
It is 5, isn't it? Yeah, there seems to be more than 5 each game. They go on and on. I want to big up the fans. You could hear them all the way through singing. Have they not got fans down there in Brighton?
No.
It was extraordinary all the way through. You could hear them singing.
Darren said that the fans were quiet today, but I could still hear him fucking moaning.
I can say hello to Sunderland at one stage.
That friggin' Murley, he was rubbish today, and it just sums him up. He's getting more criticism. I'm glad he's on the pitch today, because he was absolutely rubbish today.
Well, I think they're trying to let the game flow. I think they've been told to let the game flow. Yeah, it's not working. I don't like them stopping for every minor foul, but you've got to draw a line somewhere. There's some nice free kicks. And poor old I've forgotten his name now. Who came on?
Where's he play?
Willock. I've forgotten Willock's name for a second. Well, he got kicked about a bit, which was a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
They always target him, and I don't think he did much wrong. He made some very impressive runs. Gordon was great when he came on. He has showed a lot of energy. But, otherwise, it was tactically a very interesting game, and their initial approach to try and play out against our press, I thought, was pretty suicidal. Then try and chip our midfield. That doesn't going to work. Then they start kicking it. In the second half, they seem to be kicking it long. Just get it out of there, because it was getting a bit dangerous. Interesting. I would, it was nice to sit and watch for a game.
I was nervous, Jeff, to be honest.
Yeah. It could have gone either way. They had some pretty. I mean, what was the guy? I mean, Minter was amazing. I mean, he ran the game. Was it Lamptey?
Yeah, he came on. Yeah, Lamptey came on.
But there was a kick just before the end there where he nearly scored. Put it across right across the box there. Oh, I can't remember what I predicted, but it wasn't a draw.
Okay, good stuff, Jeff. Thank you, Ian. Welcome back, mate. Good to see you. Been on your jolly holidays. What was your view on that today? I mean, a bit of a mixed bag of opinions tonight. Newcastle remaining in fourth place in the Premier League. Chelsea winning 3-1 against Liverpool reserves. Colton Palmer.
That's annoying, isn't it?
Palmer getting a late penalty to make it 3-1. But Newcastle remain ahead on goals scored going into next week's big game. But yeah, what was your take on today's game?
Well, just starting. Well, I shouldn't do, but I'm going to start with Liverpool. They're on the beach, which I think is disgusting. Like they, I was watching that game before where I was coming from, and like that, they look like they've won it. See you later, not asked. So that's quite annoying. But today the game, I thought being honest, I thought we absolutely smashed them. Like really, they didn't really do anything to make me think that they had control of the game. I thought they were fairly poor, but we just didn't take our chances, and they did. And that's honestly my opinion on it. We could have scored 3 or 4 goals in the first half if we had our shooting boots on. Willock, unfortunately, so I'm not being a dick about Willock. Willock's a good footballer, right? I said this before. I said to Emily's dad, like, Willock's a good footballer, but there's certain people who are thick as pig shit, right? But they've got a really good footballer's brain. They've got a footballer's brain. So the aforementioned Wayne Rooney, thick as mince, you know what I mean? Like, but he's got a good footballing brain. Our hero Gaza, you know what I mean?
I thought
probably not as thick as probably not as thick as he sounds at certain times, but the greatest football brain. Some people have great football brains. Willock, for me, he's got all the attributes to be a really, really, really top level footballer. But as soon as he has to think about anything, or his football brain has to kick in, he bollocks it up. Like, you know, when he kicked the ball at his final touch, when it went out for a corner, when he should have crossed it, and just everything he seems to do just goes wrong. And what pisses me off, I'm making my comeback here, get the swear jar out. But what pisses me off is we've got a player, Miley, who, yeah, he's a kid, but he's got a football brain. He can put his foot on the ball, he can pick a pass, he doesn't bottle it when he's under pressure. Everything is the complete, for me, the polar opposite of what Willock's doing at the moment. And I'm not a Willock hater. I don't mind the kid, but he's just not good enough at the moment. Every time he comes, you know, like the ball he left in the last game where he should have just put it in the net and he just left it. And it's like, what are you doing? Get your foot on the ball. Like everything about him at the moment's wrong. So I'm not blaming Willock for today's performance. He actually did okay. His end product was shite, and it always will be, and it always is. I thought Sandro was really off today. Sandro's probably my favourite player this season. Maybe Lewis Hall, but Sandro has been amazing. That was the worst game I've seen Sandro play. Everything he did for me, everything he did it just wasn't connecting. There was just, you know, yeah, everyone has an off day, you know, like we all do. When you go into work, sometimes your head's not in the right place or whatever. But their goal, which was the only real, for me, the only chance they had of scoring, because they did nothing with the ball for me today. They were rubbish, by the way. How they beat us, I don't know, but their goals, like Minter, completely wrong-footed Sandro. Like, he was like, you know, you've got to give Minto a bit of credit for it, but he completely wrong-footed him. And there's no Dan Burn could have done to stop that more than be where he was, you know. So, but I just it's disappointing. But then we kept going. Like I say, I think we should have won that game. We were by far the better team. The stats, I don't rely on stats ever. I go off like the eye test, if you know what I mean. But the stats were. The stats this time I thought rang true, and I thought we were the better team. But there's something for me. There's an issue with Isak. I think Isak's. I think he's carrying an injury. There's something not right about him. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm listening to other people saying that or reading the room wrong. But he just doesn't look himself. And I don't think it's in his. I don't think it's in his head, because you can see he's trying. He's trying to close down. He's doing all the things that you want him to do, but he just does not seem as sharp as he was. I think the last 4 or 5 games he's been off it for me. So I don't know, but anyway, I'm buzzing to be back with you lads. I've missed yous, and yeah, it's good to be back.
Well, Magnus, I believe you've had some reports about one of your friends who came back from holiday who was verbally abused by somebody from the northeast.
Yeah, I mean, Omar is a really good friend. You know, I should give a shout out to Omar in case he's watching. He's probably become a fan of the show. A guy that I meet absolutely every time I go to HK, my local club, and we happen to have kids that play football together. He stumbles onto Ian Sutcliffe.
Way unlucky.
And you know, amazingly so. Even HK is quite a big club. You know, it could have been some randomly somebody I didn't know, and of course it wasn't. It was just somebody that I meet quite a lot. You know, and a great guy, man. Glad that you met him. You could have seen a lot worse examples of Iceland than him. You know.
No, honestly, mate. Honestly, I could not believe it. Like, it was. He woke me up putting sun cream on my face because I was asleep, snoring. I think I was annoying his kids. And then I went, "Where are you from?" I went, "Where are you from?" And he went, "Iceland." I went, "Oh, for fuck's sake." I know someone you know.
Yeah, right.
We were on the phone, weren't we? Unbelievable, that, like, unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Great lad.
All right. What did you make of the game?
Absolutely. I'm glad you met him, man. You met a good guy there, man. You know, I hope you stay in touch. Anyway, yeah, with regards to the game, I mean, I had to watch it in glimpses because my son was playing also at 1:30. Had a good game himself, but I did see, the first half an hour, and then I saw like the last 20 minutes. So. I from the way I saw it, we were still dominating the game. Joe Willock. I mean, he's no replacement for Jolinton, and we miss him dearly. But it shows very well in these games away from home how we need his strength and his aggression and sort of his determination to stop absolutely everybody that attacks us. I mean. Tonali, I saw him take one set piece for once. I'd like to see him take a lot more of the set pieces. And I mean, Willock is playing because he's more used to playing on the left midfield. But for me, I would really like to see Lewis Miley come into the team now. I know he's not used to playing on the left side, but can't Bruno play on the left side? Is that so hard? I mean, these are professional footballers. They should be just playing wherever we tell them to play or where Eddie Howe tells them to play. But all in all, I mean, I agree with Ian. Isak seems to be dealing with something, and yet he always finds the class to put away the penalties, and that's a job that needs doing as well. And it's not a sure thing in a situation away from home to put those penalties away. So I'm really glad that he done this now 2 games in a row, and I'm glad to see we are being creative enough. We are always creating enough, and people seem to be giving us those penalties because we are getting in the right areas, and we are creating. We are dominating a game away from home on the South Coast, regardless of what anybody says. We should have maybe pinched that one and win this one. But I was worried when we spoke about the last 10 games. This game and the Aston Villa game was the ones that worried me the most. So if you told me a draw before and some of us forecasted a draw, I'm happy to take the point on the South Coast, and one more thing I would like to add. I was watching yesterday. After we have seen the news on Antonio Cordero, the Spanish lad, I decided to keep an eye on Malaga for the remainder of the season. And they're dealing. They're in the La Liga too, which is where another team that I follow is also playing. And he had an outstanding game yesterday for Malaga. They are in a relegation battle, and he not only did start the game, they played 4-4-2. He controlled the midfield, and he's on the set pieces for Malaga. The A team of Malaga is not a development team or anything like that. He picked up a man of match performance, and I'm thrilled to say I'm excited to see this young man come to the team. I heard some rumors on him going to Ajax for a season-long loan, but I saw there a great performance. He created another 4 chances, and one of them was a big one. So we are in for a treat, whether he comes this summer or the next one. We have a great talent, Spanish talent that I see as with a huge prospect and future for Newcastle United. So excited for that young man, and I can't believe, thrilled about the fact that he's coming to Newcastle.
Great stuff. Okay, Ian. come to you now. We're going to look ahead to the match next weekend. Newcastle will take on Chelsea at St James's Park, and TV times dominate these days. Sunday, the 11th of May, Newcastle take on Chelsea. It's a noon kickoff live on TNT, and with Chelsea winning against Liverpool reserves by 3-1. It's made it a really, really interesting Premier League table going into that game. And obviously, games will have been played next weekend. But looking at the table as we speak, Liverpool obviously champions, 82 points. Arsenal, second place at the moment, 35 games, 67 points. Man City into third, 35 games played as well, 64 points. Then Newcastle come in at fourth, 35 games played, 63 points. Chelsea, 35 games played, 63 points. They're fifth on goals scored. Nottingham Forest have a game in hand. They're on 34, 60 points they're on. And Aston Villa are in seventh place at this moment in time. They're on 35 games and they have 60 points as well. So where are we at with fixtures prior to that? Well, Palace play Forest, of course, in the Monday night game. And then the rest of the week, we have to wait. Obviously, Champions League takes priority. The next game is Saturday, which affects those games. Southampton against Manchester City and Bournemouth against Aston Villa. Bournemouth, of course, looking for European football themselves, potentially flying high. The Sunday games, of course, Newcastle, Chelsea, which I've just mentioned, and Liverpool taking on Arsenal. Big games. Forest, though, take on Leicester City. Now, Leicester seem to be wanting to go down with a bang rather than a whimper, and seem very keen on getting Jamie Vardy to 200 Leicester goals. So something to play for Leicester in that shape anyway. But yeah, Newcastle taking on Chelsea next weekend, Ian. I don't think this one is as nervous a game to look forward to as today's was, especially with our record down there. We haven't got a bad record against Chelsea at home. I think they'll be worried about coming to St James's to try and get something. And of course, Newcastle have got a week to prepare.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that the greedy six pals did him a bit of a favour today.
Mm-hmm.
I might be being a bit of a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but
I
they
agree.
never turned up. They never turned up today. They had no interest. They won it. Who gives a shit? You know, like, and it probably helps Liverpool to help Chelsea. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I might be being ultra paranoid, but I did watch a bit of the game and I thought they're on the beach for whatever reason. So anyway, by the by, we will stick it right up Chelsea because Chelsea aren't that good a football team, and we are a good team. We might have today. We had our best players didn't turn up for me. You know, Tonali for me has been, like I said before, Lewis Hall for me has been excellent this season. But Tonali has been the linchpin for the team, and he was off his game today. I wouldn't say he was shite or anything, but like he wasn't his usual 9 out of 10. He didn't influence the game, and I thought he should have done better to close down Minter for the goal. Maybe I'm being overly harsh, but that's what I think. But like that's the last game, and you know this season we've been up and down, haven't we? All season we've had a shit game where we've looked like, you know, there's been games I've watched where we've looked like some of the players have never kicked a frigging football in their life, you know, like they've been awful. And then the next game we come back, and I think it's a lot of it's to do with the players being mentally tired. And sometimes physically tired, but I think a lot of it is mentality as well. They're trying the best, and that's all we've ever asked. And I know it's going back, and I'm not going back. Like I know it's not a few years ago, but remember a few years ago, all we said when we got took over, all we wanted for was a team that tried hard. If we lose, we lose. If we're shit, we shit. If the players are putting 100% in and they're shit, that's fine. Try your hardest, and then because you're the best we've got, and that's what. And I to a man today, there wasn't anyone I thought that wasn't trying. We just weren't at our best. So we chalk it off. We do scratch it off. That's the end of that. And at Chelsea, against Chelsea at home, Chelsea haven't got the bollocks that we've got at all. We will smash them. I'm telling you now. I like. Do you want predictions?
Yeah, please, mate.
I think we're going to do them. Honestly, I think we'll absolutely smash them because they weren't that good today. Did you see any of the game? Because
I watched it. Yeah, and I've got to be honest, nothing frightens me. And I've been down and watched Chelsea, Newcastle this season. We seem to have a bit of a hex on them, like like Brighton do on us.
I was down there as well. But
they won't be looking forward to this match. And listen, they've got some good players, no doubt about it. People are raving about Palmer's performance, but I think.
Well, from what I've seen, he's a shadow of him for his former self. He's a good player, and I really like him as a player. I think he's a cocky little shit, isn't he? But he's a good player. No one can deny that. But this season he's been off, and from what I've seen, like I was travelling for a bit because obviously I've just got back, but from what I've seen, they're not properly clicking together. They won that game, and the first goals that I've seen were because Liverpool weren't trying. They were lackadaisical, So yeah, I think we're doing Steve, and I think that I'm going to go 3-1. I'll give them one. You know what I mean? Not give them one, obviously, but I'll give them one goal. All right. I can just say, Steve, thank you very much for having us back. I know I took a little bit of a break and an holiday because my head's been a bit up my arse for a few months, and thanks for bearing with us, mate.
Yeah, welcome back, mate.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you back, man.
Yeah, it is. Jeff, come to you, mate. Your feelings, predictions for the game against Chelsea at the weekend. It's the proverbial 6-pointer, another cup final.
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll get 6 points.
Thanks, Jeff.
I think we'll get 3. I think that's probably the most we can expect. I'm not that concerned about Chelsea. They're rather a disparate collection of individuals. They don't seem to have a proper playing philosophy. And since we won the cup, remember we won the cup. It seemed to broke. I'm not concerned anymore about. We never win in London. We never live on the South Coast. We can't win away. All these old ideas are all gone. We'll play whoever's in front of us, and we'll take it as it comes. And occasionally, we'll have an Aston Villa, and we'll go too far. We'll be too tired, or we'll gone too far. But I do like the fact that we're going to be playing consistent. We can predict the team, and it makes it again consistent every week. And I'm very funny, and I'm not looking forward to sliding into the fantasy transfer league part of the season, where we all make up stories about who we're going to buy, and hope to God they're not true, because I don't want our business discussed in public. Which is one last point. Coming back to Isaac, that was his second touch in their box. That's penalty.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting point. He's and the word is he has got an issue, and it's his groin. But again, another thing we really ought to be discussing.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Howe put that out in his press conference of the weekend.
Yeah.
I think it had almost become common knowledge that he was carrying something. And yeah, the groin's definitely an issue. But if they're carrying him and he's happy to play and Newcastle are happy to get him through at the end of the season, it's more than important to have him on the pitch when he can dispatch a penalty like that, as he has done back-to-back games. The Ipswich penalty was very important because it led to what went after that. And today, again, disappoint. So yeah, he's vital.
Cortisone injection, that's what he needs.
I tell you what as well, nobody mentioned it, but credit to Callum Wilson today as well. Came on, looked sharper. Had it not been for a wonderful save by the goalkeeper,
That was a good save.
Callum Wilson would have got his 50th goal for Newcastle United against Brighton. That was a hell of a shot. Maybe there's life in the old dog yet before the end of the season. Okay, prediction. Yeah, you'd rarely give predictions, Magnus. You just think we're going to win. I mean, Jeff, you think we're going to win?
I say 3.
3. Okay,
3.
Good stuff. Magnus, to you, Chelsea next week. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we used to have a little bit of trouble ourselves in London, and I wanted to do exactly the opposite and never give them any hunting ground in our cathedral on the hill. So I'm feeling very optimistic. You know, we are right on track to make the 72 points that we also got in 2023, and that was a sensational season. This one has been a little bit like, it feels like it's been a little bit more up and down, but if we can manage that, then who knows? We could even make the third. However, I forecasted fourth. For me, Chelsea has no business or any chance in taking anything from St. James's Park. For me, it's a 2-0 because, well, my head says 2-0, but my heart says 3-0. So I'm gonna go with my head and say 2-0, a pretty solid victory. Where we start good, and I'm seeing a first half and a second half goals in my forecast. So it's a safe victory, and very optimistic for the rest of the season as well.
Okay, George, big game next week. It's as I say, it is like a cup final next week.
Well, aren't they all now? And I'm less like you. I'm less worried about Chelsea next week than I was today. I just, there was just all the other things about today which could have happened and didn't. And I think Mags is right. We've got, after the cup final, we've got really not just one monkey off our back, but quite a lot of monkeys off our back. No, I'm very optimistic for next week. I think there'll be an interesting game. Depends which Chelsea team they pick, because they've got so many in that dressing room that you're never sure which 11 are going to come out onto the pitch. But I think it'll be an interesting game, but a one that we will win and win handsomely, in my view. I'm even going. Well, I know I'm Mr. Optimistic, but I'm even going to go for 4-0 because I just have a feeling that the squad today will want to come back and do better than they did today, and Chelsea will be recipients of that, and so will we when we see what happens. So I'm pretty optimistic about next week, and look forward to it. Look forward to what our team will be after the day as well, because we don't know about injuries or anything yet, but whatever team Eddie puts out, I think we'll beat Chelsea nicely, wholeheartedly, no problem.
Okay, good stuff, lads. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks to Darren and to Pablo for joining us earlier on. Thanks to George, Magnus, Jeff, and Ian. Thanks to everybody watching. Back tomorrow night, Tuesday night, with the Joe Allen Show. Take care, guys.
Cheers, lads.
Bye. Thanks very much.
Big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel, UK Coach Holidays. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on Sport Social Podcast Network. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to support the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the like button, which is the thumb underneath this video, and click share to your social media. You could also take out a monthly membership or an annual membership at nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. For the lifetime membership, you can pay £25 and get a pen, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a badge and a keyring and your membership card and entry into the monthly draw. Some events coming up: 27th of June 2025, the end of season party. Beresford, Howie and Watson will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre with Joe Allen in aid of North Tyneside Age UK. You can get your tickets for that one from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk or from Voucher. No Covers takes place at the Cluny. That's on the 29th of June, midday till 3:45, and tickets are £10 from theclooney.com or newcastlelegends.com. Northern Horizon, a Blake 7 convention, takes place on the 9th of August, 10 till 4 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Come and be some of the cast and crew in aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. Tickets from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place on Friday the 23rd of January 2026 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. You can get tickets from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And Bad Manners are back in the Northeast at the O2 City Hall, Friday the 30th of January 2026. Tickets from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainer's book signed by Les Ferdinand available from nufcmatters.co.uk.